Hey everyone, welcome to this Medical Monday video. And today I thought I would just overview a topic that I could probably spend many videos talking about, both as the patient and also as someone who works in a doctor's office, is the topic of insurance. And whether you are the patient or the provider, it's something that you're going to battle at some point, let's just say, because in today's times, the insurance company tends to dictate what sort of therapies, procedures, medications, anything that the doctor wants to prescribe for you or thinks that, it could benefit you ultimately has to go through the insurance company. And one of the most frustrating parts, whether you're calling as the patient or you're calling to verify insurance is in the office, is the fact that the insurance company prefaces every single phone call you make by there is no guarantee of what is going to be said during this conversation, which what makes one ponder like what the heck, right? But this is where, especially as the person working in the doctor's office, like 80% of the time, I would say when patients come in, they don't fully understand what their insurance policy covers. And that definitely has to do with the fact that there is no guarantee of services or things quoted as far as your benefits. But that also comes from the fact that it's really tricky to navigate that. And even as somebody who's worked for more than 5 years in a doctor's offices, the insurances are as different as night and day. And so there can be a lot of fun loopholes and surprises along the way. And when you're trying to communicate that to the patient, I know that a lot of times they get really frustrated with you because this is the first time that they're hearing about it. They thought I had insurance, so I'm covered. And maybe that's how it was at some point, but that's not how it is now. And I personally, as the patient, I've had everything from different Blue Cross Blue Shield, different United Healthcare. I've been on state aid, I've been on Medicare. And so I've been able to see from the patient side all the different denial or approval letters that have come through for different things that my doctor has recommended that I've had. And I've had to have those conversations with the insurance company to figure out, okay, how can I appeal this? What extra information do you need? Which has caused me literally driving back and forth from different doctors' offices and different hospitals to try to get copies of records or have the doctor write in the notes, the key word that the insurance company needed to process the claim. Because a lot of the times I really do picture the insurance companies just having like random like targets on the wall, and they just take like darts and just like, oh, what's this claim going to be, and that's what's covered or that's what's not covered. And so it's just really frustrating. And so if you can try to get somewhat of a better understanding of what your insurance kind of covers, I think you'd feel more confident when you go into those doctor's offices and they say, oh, I would like to recommend you to have this, or, I think this would really benefit you, so that you'd be able to kind of be the liaison in between. Because at the end of the day, when the insurance denies it, most of the time it falls on you as the patient. Sometimes it does fall on the hospital, the doctor, because they didn't process it correctly, and the insurance will let you know, hey, you're not responsible for this because the doctor's office did something incomplete, or the hospital didn't follow procedure, didn't inform you, and so you're not responsible for the bill. But in a few of the other cases, you are then responsible for the bill. And I have accrued a lot of medical expense just because I didn't know. I wasn't aware of my plan, and I just assumed that they all kind of covered the same way, kind of along the lines of when you go to sign up for insurance, you have to pay a monthly premium. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes there's a zero monthly premium, but that also reflects the type of insurance that you're going to have. And so when you're looking at how much you have to pay each month, the other numbers that should go into that equation is finding out how much is the deductible. Because whatever that deductible is means they're expecting you to pay that out of pocket before the insurance company will pay more. Or sometimes you won't have to pay anything out of pocket once you hit that deductible. But that's another one of those numbers that people try to look for is, okay, how much is it going to cost me a month? And how much is my deductible? You could go even further and say, what's my out of pocket max? Because some insurance companies will have that. And as a patient, where one of my infusions each month is like $35,000, I think they bill the insurance. Um, my doctor offices, I mean, those can range anywhere from $300 up to $1,000 per visit. So for me, I need to know what that out of pocket max is going to be because I'm going to hit that. When I have my deductible, I usually make my deductible before the end of January. So I need to know what is that number because I have to factor that into my monthly plan. Because in my case, it makes more sense for me to pay a large monthly premium knowing that my insurance is going to cover everything else. Because when your expenses can exceed over $1 million a year, you really need to know how much out of pocket you're going to pay. And in the provider's office, being able to see all the different companies and the different people, how their insurance works and what their deductible and the percent and, out of pocket max, like those kind of key factors, it can be really surprising. And so I don't want to be the first person to tell you about your insurance. I want you to know a little bit more about your insurance. And it is overwhelming. And believe me, when you call and talk to the insurance reps, they have heard it all. And if they haven't, they should transfer you to somebody who has handled somewhat along your lines of the questioning you have for them so that you have a clearer picture of what's covered and what's not covered, because that's a key to empowerment when you're going through your tests or you're exploring medical issues that are coming up, is the security of knowing I'm not going to end up with a huge bill at the end of this, because the financial aspect of the medical world is real and it's really unfortunate. But when you do have, a chronic condition, you really have to be aware of what they're going to cover because you're really going to end up paying it anyway. The prices of things are really expensive. And so knowing a little bit more about your insurance and what it covers might help you make a decision that maybe you don't go along with the one that's offered at your job. Maybe you go and seek insurance on your own. And you can check out other companies. A lot of them don't have pre-existing conditions. Some of them do, but a lot of them don't. So it's something you can shop around for and just get more familiar with terms that resonate with you. Like I was talking about, like, okay, the premium and the deductible, what other things are important to you? What other doctors do you need to see? What other medications do you need and prefer? Because you want to definitely check that to find out whether or not it's covered under your insurance, because that's always a nice surprise when you go to the pharmacy to pick up your medication, only to find out that it was covered last year. But this year, your work's insurance changed just slightly, right? Just slightly, but now that medication isn't covered. And so what are you going to do from there? So I just hope that you look into it and find out a little bit more about it. And as always, I hope you have a wonderful week.